So what does resource management do? With resource management, you can basically find and schedule your best project team. You can resolve any staffing conflicts in real time. You can accurately plan your projects depending on your team's schedule and capacity. And you can also time track and generate reports based on those time tracks. So it can be customized reports and so on. So what we'll learn today is the layout of resource management and how to assign people from the project plan and see how this works hand in hand with resource management. Okay, so first thing is that the way resource management is structured is that there are two pieces of data. One is the people and the other one is the projects that we will take a look. So first is the people portfolio. I'm signed into my account. What the people portfolio does is that it can have all different types of properties. So really, you can basically build a rich set of data of information within all the humans in your organization. So it could be different properties like location, manager. You're really able to see your entire roster of what kind of talent you have. And when the people are added to the people portfolio, you're able to easily assign tasks to them through Smartsheet, and it will reflect in resource management. Okay. We also have something cool called people custom fields. So apart from team member, office status, discipline, role, and so on, we also have things like in Toronto, languages, skills, who's the team lead, travel locations, and so on. So what this does is, let's say I tag the people who are based in Toronto. When I just click on this filter and I say yes, it will filter it based on all my employees in Toronto. Okay, so that's the nice thing about the people custom field. Um, for the project custom field, we also have a project custom field, and we'll get to that in a bit. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is that let me open up one of um, person. So basically, when you open up any person's portfolio, you can see what they have assigned to today, the next 30 days, the last 30 days. You can see the time that they have tracked. You can also see expenses. Okay. Now, moving on to the projects. Okay. Here we have is a project portfolio. So all of the projects are in here. Okay. We have the project owner and so on. This way, the organization will be able to see all of the projects across the boards, some metadata about the project, so starts, ends, project owner, and so on. At the left side, you can see these filters, and that's which is easily configurable. So just like how I mentioned about the people custom fields, we have project custom fields. Okay. So if you have some unique type of business logic, like, for example, strategic alignment, and let's say you want to be able to take your portfolio and basically report it on what the project aligns with that specific strategic alignment, you can do that. So these ones are all customizable, and it just depends on what you want to track and what you want to report on. The left side basically is all filters. You can change it based on different views that you would like to see and so on. So now is the schedule. The schedule is when the people and the project come together. They come together in a schedule. We have a people on the left side, and you can see the specific project and task that this person has been assigned to. So for this training, we're keeping it simple. We're just going to be doing with myself. So for example, 24th of October, I have two projects. I have Project Toronto, I have Project Canadian Tire. The specific tasks associated with these projects is the kickoff activity for Project Toronto, the task 2 for Project Canadian Tire. The percentages here is how much in percentage am I being allocated to this specific task for my whole day, for each of these days. So 50%. I'm allocated for kickoff activity for 50% for each day and 30% for the other project. So in total right now, I'm 80% at capacity, which means that I have 20 more. So I can take on another task for another project. If percentage does not work with you, you can also use hours per day. So of course, 50% means that 4 hours a day. You can also configure these things. If your workday is 10 days, you can basically put them in the settings and so on. Okay. So one thing I wanted to mention is how easy it is to add somebody, a person. When you go to add person on the side, you basically add them as a licensed user or a managed resource. Managed resource means that they don't have access to a time track and so on, but it's just for you to manage your resources. So for example, you put your first name, you put your last name, email, so on, availability, utilization, bill rate. Really, these are all extra enhancements to your resource management, but I'll show you what's the minimum that's needed to manage your resources. Down here is where we have all those people custom fields: team lead, languages, travel locations, departments, so on. So you can add more fields to this if you wish. And that would be under the settings. And the account settings. So you would basically add what you would want to add in terms of the custom fields over here. So we have the project custom fields, and we also have the people custom fields. So when you add it here, then it adds when you try to add a person or a project. People, yes, you have to add, but projects, you don't have to add. You can easily connect a project from Smartsheet to resource management. And I'll show that to you right now. After this, we'll look at hand in hand how this works when we actually assign people to certain tasks. So this is one of my projects. I don't want to go here. Let me go here. Okay, so I have this project DEF. I'm at the project plan. I'm just going to switch it to grid view. Okay. So there is 4 minimum columns that you need in order for resource management to work. So firstly is the start date, the end date, the assigned to, and the percent allocation. Okay. So what we're going to do here, we don't have a percent allocation, so we're going to add that. Okay. I'm just going to add a column to the right, and I'm going to add percent allocation. Okay. I'm going to move this guy here, move this guy here, move this guy at the back. Okay. Now, how do I connect a project plan to resource management? What I have to do, oops. I go to resource management on the right panel over here, and I edit the project settings. I go to resource management, and here they're asking me, firstly, it's disabled. I have to enable it. And they're asking me to map which is the assigned resource column and which is the percent allocation column. Very simple. So I just click OK. And it's either I can add it as a new project, or if the project already exists, I can add it as an existing project. So let me just go ahead and connect it as a new project. Now you see this panel will then connect to resource management, and you'll be able to assign people through this, and it will reflect in resource management. So for example, I'll remove this guy, add myself. Okay, so now when I open up this project DEF project work plan, I can see that I was added to this project starting March 8th and ending June 30th. It also added myself as a project member to this project. So as soon as you add more people to these tasks, you will see that they've been added as a project member automatically through the project screen. It takes you to the specific project's project work plan. There you can see the schedule of all the people. You can see the work list. You can see activity and how people have interacted with this project plan. Okay, so that's just a tutorial on how to connect a project plan to Smartsheet. Now we can go into how to work it once it's connected. Okay, so let's move into these two projects. Let me remove this guy. Okay, so I have two projects here. One is Project Toronto and one is Project Canadian Tire. Each of it has basically similar tasks because they are under the same portfolio, but they're two different projects. Okay, what are we going to do here? Let's look at something. So since I'm connected to my resource management, my own resource management, Varnisha, and not the Smartsheet demo account, let's focus on these two rows. So one is from the 24th to the 11th, the 1st of November, and the other one is November 2nd to November 8th. And let's keep in mind the 50% and 60% allocation over here. And then let's look at Project Canadian Tire, where I am scheduled for 13th of March. 13th of March, and this guy is 24th of October and 31st of October at 30%. Now, we'll look at two different things in resource management. Okay, one is under the schedule where the people and the project come together. I'm going to look at the people side, and I'm going to look at assignment details. The other tab that I've opened here is also people, but it's allocation heat map. And we'll see the difference. Yeah, let me just refresh this. Schedule allocation heat map to myself. Okay. Okay. So let's focus again on the 24th of October. Let me switch my screen to this side. So here I can see that I am assigned to Project Toronto kickoff activity that we saw from the project plan, 50%, and Project Canadian Tire task 2, 30%. That makes me 80%. That's what I see in the allocation heat map over here, which means that when you see the specific person from the 24th to the 31st, I'm only allocated 80%, which means I have another 20% that I can do other work. So It's either I can assign myself to one of the tasks in the project plan, or I can even add a new assignment from resource management itself. Okay. So let's say I wanted to add something from the project plan in Project Toronto for the same time period. And let's see how the allocation heat map looks like when I'm over capacity. So if it's 80 and 100% is full capacity, let's make it 110. So, okay, what am I doing? 24th of October. Okay, let's take this guy. 24th of October. Let's make this, let's say, 3 days. And let's make it 110. Okay? And let's not forget to assign myself to this. Okay. What I need to do right now is refresh and hopefully it picks up. Refresh this guy and that guy. Still not updated, so let's wait a minute. Okay, so this guy has refreshed where it says for the 3 days that I've added this 30%, I am 10% over capacity. And it does not mean that 100% is your full capacity. You can, let's say, you don't want your employees to be overworked the whole day. You can make 80% as your full capacity and it will adjust as such. So that all goes into the settings. That's a different story. So now you know from the allocation heat map, you know that I am over by 10% for just 3 days. So what are we going to do? We can either reduce that time that I'm supposed to work for this task to 20%, or we can just easily reassign this task to someone else. And the nice thing about this is that when we set up people, as what I talked about before, where we can configure basically their discipline and their roles. So let's say you're a director of marketing, or let's say you're a project manager for healthcare. If we have 5 project managers for healthcare and we add people in terms of discipline, project management, no, sorry, discipline, healthcare, role, project management, what's going to happen is you'll be able to find these 5 matching people in your list of matching people over here, and you can easily select them because you know they have that qualifications to do the job. And with that, you can also have placeholders. So if I go back to one of my project plans, you can see that when I click here, I have these different placeholders that I have configured, like accounting, administrative, change management. Let's say you don't know who's going to be assigned to yet, but you need to block it somehow. You would use these placeholders. And with that, you can also assign it to matching placeholders. Like let's say your project management for healthcare. There's also other non-matching people that you can just easily assign it to. So let's say I just reassigned this to Allison. Now this has been removed and Allison got my task. So that's basically how resource management works. And now this guy, yeah, okay, let's see. I'm going to refresh this. Should be gone now. Oh, wait, is this? Oh, yeah, assignment details. Yeah, so it's gone now. And the nice thing about resource management is it works both ways. So you can make a change, of course, from the project plan and it will show up here, or you can even make a change here and it'll show up in the project plan. But that's the reason why we need at least four things when we set up resource management. One is the start date, end date, and the other one is the percent allocation. And the fourth thing is really because it's projects. So if you add projects through through resource management, then you would have to manually add the tasks as well. So that's why it's a lot easier to connect a project plan from Smartsheet itself because you already have all your tasks laid out. So it kind of looks like this, where it says the task is inside of the bold is the project name, and the task is basically, sorry, what's after the bolded text is the task. And there are also other things that we can do with resource management, but it's not in my agenda today to cover during the training, but I will just show you a glimpse. Basically, when I said about those time tracking reporting, this is what I meant. It's basically you can generate reports based on either time and fees, expenses, budgets, utilization by team member. Let's see if this has any. Yeah. So you'll get something like this, where you can see the entire people portfolio, how much, how many actual hours they've used, how many hours they have available, how much have they been utilized, and what is their target utilization. So, and then on top of that, we have all of those project and people custom fields on the left side that you can basically just, yes, and run that report again. So in a nutshell, this is how resource management works for basics, where you have the people, you have the projects, and then the schedule is where the people and the project come together. And then you can also connect a project plan with resource management, or you can even do amendments in resource management and it'll reflect back in the project plan. On top of all this, you can even generate reporting based on specific views that you would like and specific time frames as well. And you can even group them by roles, disciplines, and so on, and even filter on top of that.